Gary, welcome back, Gary. But like, Gary, let me tell you something. Before whenever we have a program here in the village and we have somebody of significance, we always have internet problems or phone problems. Always. So I think the program might be getting a little too popular because we speak truth to power in the village. But before we say anything, we always ask
Message.
everyone that come into the village, if you had to send a message to the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, what would be your message to the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley? No, I think he's muted. Let me unmute
So
you.
he's
You have to
Okay.
unmute the mic. All right, yes. Did you hear me?
Yes. What would I
What would be
say?
your message to the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley?
Five things. The first thing is that it is a fact that this country has developed a reputation of corruption. And the only way we could address that is by having enforceable legislation that creates structures. Therefore, it would be wise to reconsider his position regarding the weakening and watering down and destruction of the procurement law. Secondly, there's a critical role that our people need to be recognized to play, and that is the role of production, not serfdom, production, ownership of small businesses, of local growth businesses, farming and fishing and conversion of local products. If it is imported, it should have a substance or a value of local input to create products of value that are marketable and harvestable. Therefore, we need to have incentives and infrastructure for IT and other types of entrepreneurs that are budding, that need support. They need tax concessions, loans, training, special consideration, encouragement. Thirdly, there needs to be a sense of inclusion because currently we suffer from an alienation with a democratic dictatorship where no one is consulted on whether in education, business, development planning, roads and infrastructure. There are networks of people who are willing to help, but we are locked out. Fourthly, we need to have public consultation again and again and again because we've had so much of it on mechanisms for constitutional reform to prevent the excesses of this current system and to create a system of meritocracy, of merit, where people who serve and produce and are able to show their excellence, that they should be given opportunities for growth and for advancement in the public service. And finally, there is no excuse for excessive, unnecessary, costly tax concessions to judges, to ministers, to prime ministers, to leaders of the opposition, to high public servants, permanent secretaries, etc., to spend literally hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in concessions for vehicles and other excessive, bling. And finally, we need to reconsider a modified tax structure so that those who are making millions and tens and hundreds of millions should pay slightly more to contribute to the national well-being, and that should be implemented with stakeholder inclusion in proper procurement procedures for every government ministry and agency, as well as proper legislation and the empowerment of the procurement entity and officers of the procurement office. So that's more or less it. And when we say procurement, we're not just talking about the government's buying, we're talking about the government selling. So when they sell the ports, we need to have proper oversight and inclusion as to how it is done and how the value is determined and who are the beneficiaries and how it is advertised, whether it's government land, ports, or assets like oil and gas. So I hope that was refreshing.
I want
Um,
to say, I want to say,